was, as we speak about digital transformation, which is one of the outcomes of this session, is to talk about what is that, and what does it really mean, and what does it have to do with me, being the HR crowd. When you look at something, when you Google the words, why does digital transformation fail? You get, why does digital transformation fail due to ignoring the culture? You get a return of 18 million results. It is one of the major reasons why digital transformation, or any transformation for that matter, even more when it's a digital one, fails. And when you talk about what has happened to companies for the past 100 years, the average expectancy of a company, of a Fortune 500 company, used to be 75 years, and then it has moved to 15 years, and in the next 5 years, it's forecasted that it would be around 5 years. So when you think about the amount of disruption that's occurring to multiple industries, it is something that is pretty pervasive, but it's something that also we have a tendency to try to avoid or ignore because it is very uncomfortable. And today, I'm not promising that this conversation is gonna make you feel comfortable, but I wanna take you there. I want you to feel that uncomfort so that that can have a call to action. So I wanted to share a story about talking about experience. And I'm sure that in your HR community, you have heard a lot about, it is no longer about customer experience, but it's also about work experience and the employee experience. And there is certain optimism according to the World Economic Forum that the average worker feels optimism as to how digital is going to be able to improve their work experience. So I want to share a story about experience from a customer perspective. A couple of months ago, I had a tragedy, which was that my laptop, my business laptop, died. And there was no way that it would do anything. So it happened to me twice in the same week, and at the second time I told my husband I had to get a new laptop because I cannot run my business like that. And the first thing that you do when you need something is you go where? Amazon, right? So I went to Amazon and I said, well, I thought it would be easier to go to Amazon, but it really was very overwhelming. There were so many options, so many different reviews and different links that would take you to a different link, and then more information and more reviews. Some reviews were contradictory. And then I said, you know what, this is such an important purchase. I need to go to my friends at Best Buy. So I get in the car, go to Best Buy, and when I get there, I was almost in tears. I was telling the sales representative, I said, my business is on the line, I have everything there, and the irony of all of this is that I am a digital transformation operations consultant, and I haven't done a backup in the past month. Okay? So he said, don't worry, we will get it fixed. We will get there. So let's talk about it. So he asked me all these questions about what was important to me, et cetera, et cetera. To make long story short, I ended up selecting the laptop that I needed. And then I said, I also need a monitor, and my eyes went to the one that was the most expensive. And he said, are you a gamer? I said, absolutely not. And he said, so that's more for that crowd, like for your kids, because I had talked to him about my kids. And he said, you don't need that expensive monitor. It was like $500. He said, I can show you something that would serve the purpose of what you need. And then after I purchased all the hardware, then I said, okay, so my most important concern is what's going to happen to all my data that is in that computer. He said, we'll have that solved for you. So if you buy this Geek Squad and you purchase their program, then they will handle it. And lo and behold, after 4 days, they did it all. Okay? So when I got home after the day that I finally got my brand new computer all set up, I didn't have to do anything. Even the pencil that you can use on the tablet, it was synchronized. Everything was done for me. And I started getting curious because I said, have they been able to survive with Amazon? And I actually even made a comment to the salesperson, and I thought it was so respectful the way that he answered. And he said, we can both play. There is space for both of us. So I thought that was such a phenomenal answer and reaction. And when I got home a few days after, I started researching about what Best Buy, what is this, they must have done something, because this is pretty incredible. And they did. Back in 2012, they really had the perfect storm. They almost died. Their stock price was at $12. Their CEO had to resign for multiple issues. And then Herbert Yoli became the CEO. And he took the following actions. Number one, he focused on the humans. So he went to all the stores, talked to all the people, gathered the information, understood, listened, and then took action to resolve those issues that he heard about. Then he also focused on, let me focus on our strengths and not focus on our weakness. And they knew that their weakness is that customers would go to their stores and do the search, and then they would go and buy it online. So what did he do? He took a bold strategy action, which was to do price matching. Okay. Then he also revised their infrastructure and processes and foundationally upgraded them and took care of them. And also he taught the workforce not to push sales, but to build relationships. And the last thing he did is that he stayed humble. He said, we had a near-death experience, but we cannot take it for granted. And we should always be alert. So the reason why I'm telling you all of this is because there is always a human element in all of it. And that's what this conversation is all about. So let's get started. So the outcomes for today is that I'm hoping that there is a higher awareness of what is this digital transformation thing and what is needed. And then to reflect upon the role of the HR personnel. How does that role need to change? Why does it need to change? And also to leave with some ideas. I have passed these sticky notes so that you can think about some answers to some reflection questions that I want to present to you. And then we will post them on the wall. The color has nothing to do with it. So we can post them on the wall, and then maybe you can get some ideas and actions that you would like to take on in your organizations.